I can't believe it's finally happening, I said, turning the small velvet box in my hand. 3 years, Ryan, 3 years, and I'm finally proposing to her tonight. Ryan grinned. About time, man. You've been talking about this since forever. Alina's gonna freak out. She better, I laughed nervously. You sure this ring looks right? He picked it up, inspecting the diamond under the light. It's perfect, Ethan. Simple, elegant. Just like her, I smiled. Thanks, bro. Couldn't have done it without you. He clapped me on the back. Always got your back, man. Always. If only I'd known what those words really meant. That evening, I drove to the restaurant where Alina and I had our first date. She hadn't answered my last few texts, but I figured she was busy. I told myself she'd walk in, tear up, and say yes before I even got the words out. The hostess smiled at me. Table for two, sir? Yeah, I said. Alina Summers. She frowned. Oh, Miss Summers? She's already here. Right this way. Already here? My heart skipped. Maybe she was planning a surprise, too. But when I followed her through the candlelit hall, the sound of laughter froze me in place. It wasn't just her voice. It was his. Ryan's. I took one step closer, just enough to see them. Alina, dressed beautifully, holding Ryan's hand across the table. A ring glittered on her finger. Not the one I bought. Congratulations, you two, the waiter said cheerfully, setting down champagne glasses. I couldn't breathe. My throat went dry. Ryan, Alina whispered, smiling. I still can't believe we're engaged. Engaged. The word echoed like a gunshot in my head. I stumbled back, bumping into a chair. They both turned. Her face went pale. Ryan froze. Ethan? She whispered, my voice cracked. So this is why you were distant. You were with him? Ethan, wait, Ryan said, standing up. It's not what you think. Not what I think. I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. She's wearing a ring, Ryan. My best friend. The one person I trusted most. You looked me in the eye this morning while helping me buy her a ring. Were you laughing inside the whole time? He didn't answer. His silence was louder than any lie. Alina reached for me, eyes wet. Please, I didn't mean to hurt you. It just happened. Happened? I snapped. You don't accidentally betray someone. You choose it. Tears streamed down her face. I loved you, Ethan, but I fell for him. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. You fell for him while you still had me. That's not love, Alina. That's cowardice. Ryan stepped forward. I never wanted it to go this way, man. Then why did it? I whispered. You could have told me. One word, Ryan, just one. Instead, you both lied to me for months. He looked down, ashamed. I'm sorry. I nodded slowly, my hands trembling. Yeah, so am I. The box in my pocket felt heavier than stone. I pulled it out, placed it on their table, and whispered, Here, maybe you'll need it again someday. Then I turned and walked away. I didn't look back. I couldn't. Outside, the cold wind cut through me, sharp and merciless. The streetlights blurred as tears filled my eyes. That night, I swore to myself I would disappear, rebuild, and return stronger. Not for revenge. Not even for love, but so I'd never be that broken again. I can't stay here, Mom, I said, stuffing clothes into a worn-out duffel bag. Every street, every sound, everything reminds me of them. She grabbed my arm, her voice trembling. Ethan, running away won't heal you. I'm not running away, I whispered, zipping the bag shut. I'm just done pretending this place doesn't suffocate me. Tears filled her eyes. You're throwing your life away. My life was thrown away the moment they betrayed me. I looked at her, my throat tightening. I need to find peace, Mom. Maybe somewhere else I can breathe again. She reached out, pressing something into my hand, my father's old watch. Then take this, she said softly. Wherever you go, remember who you are. I nodded, my voice breaking. I will. The bus station was nearly empty, just flickering lights and the sound of rain hitting the pavement. I sat alone on a bench, my bag at my feet, the ticket in my hand shaking slightly. When the bus arrived, I climbed aboard and took the window seat. The smell of diesel and cold air filled the cabin. I stared out at the city lights, every one of them a memory I wanted to forget. A gentle voice broke my thoughts. Is this seat taken? I turned. A woman stood there holding a book against her chest. She looked tired but calm, her eyes carrying a quiet kind of warmth. No, I said. Go ahead, she sat down, glancing at me. Rough night? I let out a hollow laugh. Rough life, she smiled faintly. I figured. You've got that look. Someone who's lost something important. I sighed. Not something, everything. She didn't pity me. She didn't ask questions. She just nodded. Sometimes losing everything is the only way to start over. I turned to her, studying her face in the dim light. You sound like you've been there. I have, she said quietly. Different story. Same kind of pain. For a long moment, we didn't speak. The bus rumbled through the darkness, city lights fading behind us. Where are you heading? I asked finally. Nowhere special, she said. Just away, I smiled faintly. Guess we're both running from ghosts then. She looked out the window, her reflection trembling against the glass. Maybe we're not running. Maybe we're just searching. Her words hit me harder than I expected. Searching. That's what it felt like, wandering without knowing what I hoped to find. I don't even know who I am anymore, I admitted. Everything I was revolved around people who aren't mine anymore. She turned to me, eyes soft. Then maybe it's time to build something that's only yours. I nodded slowly, staring at my reflection. Maybe. The bus rocked gently, the night swallowing the city behind us. My phone buzzed, a message from Ryan. I didn't open it. I just turned it off. Maya glanced at me, smiling faintly. Feels better when you stop looking back, doesn't it? Yeah, I whispered, leaning against the cold window. For the first time, it does. She didn't say anything after that. She didn't need to. Her quiet presence filled the emptiness I thought would never end. As the road stretched endlessly ahead, I closed my eyes and exhaled. For the first time since that night, the ache in my chest didn't feel like a wound. It felt like a beginning. Table 4 needs refills, Ethan, my manager shouted. Yeah, got it, I replied, forcing a smile. My hands ached from carrying trays all day, and my back screamed for rest, but quitting wasn't an option. When the rush ended, I leaned against the counter, sweat dripping down my neck. Maya's message flashed on my phone. Don't skip class tonight. I groaned under my breath. Easy for her to say. Talking to yourself again? Marcus the cook smirked. Man, you need a life. I need money, I muttered. That night, I sat in a half-empty classroom fighting to stay awake while the professor explained marketing analytics. My notebook was a mess, coffee stains, random notes, dreams scribbled in the corners. After class, Maya was waiting by the door, holding 2 cups of coffee. You look like death warmed up, she said, handing me one. Thanks, I said, taking a sip. Guess I'm living proof rock bottom has free Wi-Fi, she laughed softly. You're doing better than you think. Really? I asked. Because right now it feels like I'm stuck in a loop. Work, study, sleep, repeat. She tilted her head. You're surviving, Ethan. That's more than you realize. I sighed. Surviving isn't living. Then make it living, she said simply. We walked out into the cold night. Streetlights flickered above us as she looked at me. What do you actually want? To not feel like a failure, I said. To prove I'm not the broken guy who got left behind, she nodded. Then stop working for people who treat you like one. Start something of your own, I laughed. With what money? My paycheck barely covers rent. You've got more than money, she said. You've got vision. You see things differently. You notice details others ignore. I frowned. And what am I supposed to do with that? Turn it into something, she insisted. You said you like digital marketing. Start small. Offer local businesses help online. Build from there. I looked at her, half smiling. You make it sound easy. It's not, she said. But neither was surviving what you went through. Her words hit harder than I expected. You really think I can do this? She stepped closer. I don't think you already are. You just haven't realized it yet. That night, I stayed awake in my tiny apartment, staring at my cracked laptop screen. I opened a blank page and typed ED Digital Solutions. My initials. My start. The name looked ridiculous, but it was mine. Days turned into weeks. I designed logos for small shops, ran ads for cafes, anything that paid. I failed more times than I could count, but each failure burned brighter than their memory. One night, I texted Maya. Maybe you were right, she replied. About what? That I'm not broken, just rebuilding. Her next message came quickly. Don't prove them wrong, Ethan. Prove yourself right. I stared at her words, smiling for the first time in months. That betrayal had destroyed me once. But now it was the fire keeping me alive. 5 years, I whispered, staring out the glass wall of my new office. Feels like a lifetime. Or maybe just the start, Maya said behind me, handing over a cup of coffee. I smiled faintly. You still make it the same way. Too sweet, she grinned. Some things don't change. I turned back to the city skyline, the lights, the noise, the endless motion. But some things do. Look at this place. We actually did it. You did it, she corrected. You built something from nothing. I chuckled softly. From heartbreak, you mean? She tilted her head. Whatever the fuel was, it worked. I sat down at my desk, scrolling through numbers on the screen. Contracts, investments, emails. I used to dream about this. Success, stability, respect. And now? She asked. Now I just feel tired, I admitted. It's strange. I have everything I thought I wanted, and yet part of me still feels empty. Maya leaned against the wall, watching me quietly. You still think about her? I looked up, surprised. You make it sound like I can't move on, she shrugged. I didn't say that. I said you think about her. That's different. 5 years, I said again, almost to myself. You'd think the memory would fade. It doesn't fade, she said softly. It just stops hurting as much, I laughed bitterly. You sure about that? Because sometimes I still wake up hearing her voice, she sighed. Ethan, you're allowed to miss the person you thought she was. But don't forget who you became because of it. Her words sat heavy between us. I wanted to argue, but I couldn't. She was right. Later that day, I met with investors, confident men in suits, talking about numbers and growth rates. One of them clapped me on the shoulder. You've got quite the empire, Ethan. What's your secret? I smiled. Pain. It's the best motivator. They laughed, thinking it was a joke. I didn't. When the meeting ended, Maya caught me by the elevator. You scare people when you talk like that, she teased. Do I? I asked. Maybe that's a good thing. It's not, she said. You're not that man anymore, I frowned. What man? The one who lived to prove others wrong. The one who kept looking backward. I studied her for a moment. And who am I now? She smiled softly. Someone who finally deserves peace. Her words stayed with me long after she left. That night, as I locked up the office, I caught my reflection in the glass, older, stronger, sharper. I'd built walls of success around myself, but inside, there was still one small crack, the part of me that whispered her name when the nights got too quiet. Maya once said, "You still look for her in everyone." She was right. But maybe I was just trying to find the version of myself that existed before her, and maybe that was the hardest part. The room glowed with chandeliers and champagne smiles. I was shaking hands with investors when I heard a familiar laugh, the one I'd trained myself to forget. I turned. There she was, Alina, dressed in silver, standing beside Ryan. For a second, the air left my lungs. 5 years of silence, and suddenly, there they were, married, polished, pretending to be happy. Alina's eyes widened. Ethan? I let a small smile curl at the corner of my lips. Mrs. Carter, isn't it? Her face drained of color. Ryan's jaw tightened. He extended a handshake. Ethan, long time. Too long, I said, shaking his hand just firmly enough for him to feel it. He cleared his throat. Didn't know you'd be here. I sponsor this event every year, I replied. Guess you missed that. Maya walked up, elegant as ever. Everything okay? Perfect, I said. Just catching up with old friends? Ryan forced a smile. Ah, so you two know each other. Alina's voice trembled. We go way back. I met her gaze, holding it for just a second too long. Way back, I echoed softly. Ryan shifted. I've heard a lot about your company, Ethan. Impressive work, I shrugged. Just doing my best. You know how it is. Long nights, hard lessons, betrayal or two along the way. His smile faltered. Right. Maya looked between us, sensing the tension. I'll go check on the auction list, she said quietly, leaving us alone. Alina finally spoke. You've changed. People do, I replied. Some faster than others. Her fingers twisted the strap of her purse. You look successful. Success doesn't erase scars, I said. It just hides them better. She swallowed. You're still angry, I leaned closer, keeping my voice low. No, anger fades. But memory? That stays, Ryan stepped forward. All right, that's enough. Relax, I said coolly. We're just reminiscing. Nothing dangerous about that, he glared. You don't intimidate me, Ethan, I smiled. You look tired, Ryan. Is the CEO life not everything you hoped? His eyes darkened. Careful. Always am, I said. Alina's voice cracked. Please, not here. I looked at her one last time. Don't worry, Alina, I won't ruin your perfect picture. You've already done that yourselves. I turned to walk away, but she grabbed my wrist. Her touch froze me. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't turn around. You should tell that to the version of me you destroyed. Her grip loosened. I walked off, the sound of the orchestra swelling behind me. At the bar, Maya was waiting. Who were they? She asked softly. I stared into my glass. Ghosts. Looked more like unfinished business, she said. Maybe, I admitted. But I think karma's already collecting its dues. Across the room, Ryan and Alina stood in silence, their smiles gone. The cracks were showing, and I didn't need revenge anymore. All I needed was that one moment, the look on their faces when they realized I'd moved on. Or at least, I was trying to. The message came early in the morning. Ryan, hey man, long time. Let's talk. Business. I almost laughed. Business. From him. By noon, we were sitting across from each other in a glass-walled office. Alina sat beside him, quiet, her hands folded tightly in her lap. Ryan tried to sound casual. You've done well for yourself, man. Real proud, I sipped my coffee. You didn't come here to congratulate me, Ryan. What do you want? He hesitated, glancing at Alina before speaking. A partnership. A merger, maybe. You know, combine forces. I leaned back, studying him. His once confident posture was gone. His eyes darted, his voice cracked at the edges. You're drowning, aren't you? I asked quietly. He swallowed. Business is complicated right now. Market's bad. Investors pulled out. Cut the excuses, I interrupted. How much debt? He looked away. Enough to sink us. Alina spoke for the first time, her voice barely above a whisper. We're trying to save what's left. Her words hit something deep in me. Not pity, not anger, just a strange emptiness. Ryan leaned forward. Look, Ethan, I know we have history, but we were friends once. You could help us, friends? I said, almost laughing. Friends don't steal what isn't theirs, he clenched his jaw. It wasn't like that. Really? Then what was it like? You falling for her while I was planning our future? Alina's eyes filled with tears. Please don't. No, I said, cutting her off. You wanted this meeting. Now listen, Ryan's voice cracked. I'm asking for help, not forgiveness. Good, I said coldly. Because I don't give either. The silence that followed was sharp enough to cut through the air. Finally, Alina whispered, he's desperate, Ethan, we both are. I looked at her, the woman who once promised me forever, now sitting there, broken beside the man she chose over me. I leaned forward slowly. Tell me, Alina, do you still think you made the right choice? Her lips trembled. No, she whispered. Ryan turned on her. Alina, not now. Don't silence her, I snapped. You've done enough of that. He stood up red-faced. If you're not going to help, just say it. I smiled faintly. Maybe I will. But tell me, Ryan, why would I? He froze. The question hung there, heavy, merciless. Alina buried her face in her hands. Ryan's shoulders slumped, his arrogance gone. I thought you were better than this, he muttered. I was, I said softly, until I learned how people like you define better. I rose from my seat, gathering my coat. You came here for a savior. All I can offer is reality. As I walked out, I heard Alina whisper my name, trembling, helpless. I didn't turn back. The sound of their silence followed me all the way to the elevator. Heavier, sharper, more satisfying than revenge could ever be. I can't sleep, I said, staring at the ceiling. My head won't shut up. Maya crossed her arms, leaning against the doorway. What are you thinking about? Ryan's voice, I replied. How he begged. How Alina looked at me like I was a stranger. She walked over and sat on the edge of my desk. You invited them into your world. Now they want a lifeline. I could crush them, I said quietly. I could make sure they never crawl out of this hole. Maya's eyes hardened. If you hurt them, you'll lose what you built. Do you want to be the man who ruins people for the sake of pain? I laughed, a sound that had no humor. You don't get it. It's not just pain. It's justice. They owe me. Justice or vengeance? She asked. There's a difference, Ethan. I don't know anymore. I reached for my laptop and opened the draft contract. The words glowed in the dim light. Equity transfer, operational control, severance clause. My fingers trembled as I typed. You're drafting it? Maya asked. Yeah. I kept my eyes on the screen. I can tie them legally. Make them answer to me. Watch them scramble. Maya rubbed her temple. And you'll feel good for how long? 2 days, 2 weeks? Then what? Then I'll have my revenge, I said. The word felt heavy, like a promise whispered into an empty room. You'll also get sleepless nights thinking about the man you became, she said softly. You'll see their faces in every board meeting, every press release. I deserve this, I muttered. They deserve to know what it is to lose everything. They chose this life. They chose poorly, Maya agreed. But choosing poorly doesn't mean they should be crushed under your feet. I paused, my cursor blinking. Maybe I'm tired of being reasonable. Reasonable built you this company, she reminded me. Revenge will take it apart. A message popped up from Ryan. We appreciate the meeting. Hope we can work this out. I typed. Don't send anything yet, Maya warned. Sleep on it. If you sign in the morning, it's different than if you sign at 2 a.m. with a wound still open. I know, I said. But what if sleeping feels like letting them win? Winning isn't what this is about, Ethan. You said you wanted peace. She looked at me, searching. Do you want peace or do you want to watch them suffer? I swallowed. The screen reflected in my eyes, the clauses like teeth waiting to clamp down. Maybe I want both, I whispered. Maya reached for my hand, then build a contract that saves you from regret. Not one that feeds anger. I stared at the draft, the power to ruin sitting under my fingertips. The temptation of revenge hummed like an engine. Guilt thrummed beside it, a quieter, honest sound. Okay, I said. I'll sleep on it. Maya nodded. I could tell she didn't believe me. I didn't either. Sign here, I said, pushing the pen forward. Ryan stared at the document. Ethan, this changes control. Are you sure? It secures the company, I said. You need stability. Alina's voice was barely a whisper. Some of these clauses look severe. They protect everyone, I said. Especially investors. He signed first, hands shaking. Alina hesitated, then signed with a trembling line. Welcome aboard, I said, forcing a smile. We'll steady things, Ryan exhaled. I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me yet, I replied. Just run the business. After the meeting, the room emptied. Alina stayed behind, footsteps light. She closed the door and faced me. Do you hate me? She asked. No, I said after a pause. I don't hate you, she searched my face. Then why the tight terms? Why take control? Because trust was broken, I answered. Because apologies don't pay bills. Her hands trembled. I never meant for this to happen. You meant for this to feel right, I suppose, I said. You wanted a choice I didn't get. Tears gathered in her eyes. I thought I was choosing what was best. You chose him, I said. That choice cost you and me. She stepped closer. Do you feel nothing? Not even a tiny piece of what we had? I looked at her and felt the old weight. I feel things, I said. Not the way I used to. It's complicated. She let out a breath that might have been a laugh. You're so careful with words. I learned to be careful with people, I replied. She sank into a chair. What will you do with the company now that you own so much? I'll run it to survive, I said. Not to punish, but I won't be easy on failures. Alina's voice broke. Will Ryan lose everything? If he can't manage, yes, I said bluntly. That's the risk he took, she covered her face. I don't want to lose him. You didn't think about losing me, I said. You thought only of what you wanted, she looked up, pleading. Please, Ethan, be merciful. Mercy without responsibility is useless, I said. I'll be fair. I won't be soft. She reached for my hand, a desperate, shaky plea. Then tell me one thing, do you forgive me? I held her gaze. Forgiveness isn't a switch. I won't hurt you intentionally, but I can't pretend everything is okay. She nodded slowly, tears falling. I thought hate would be simpler. Hate burns, I said. Indifference lingers. The elevator dinged. I walked her to the lobby. Live up to the agreement, I told her. Prove you're capable. She whispered, I'll try. As the doors closed, I watched her leave and felt the old tangle of emotions twist tighter. Anger, regret, something like pity. I tightened my coat and walked back to my office, the contract heavy in my mind. That night I lay awake listening to paper rustle, thinking power might never fill the empty space love left behind again. Ryan didn't show up again, my assistant said quietly.
Handing me the latest report. I didn't look up.
How many days this week? 4, she replied. Alina called in sick twice. I nodded, dismissing her. The door clicked shut, leaving me alone with the silence I'd built. Later that evening, Maya stepped into my office. You've heard the rumors? She asked. I leaned back in my chair. They're not rumors. They're facts. Ryan's drinking, she said. He's been seen leaving bars at noon. I know, I replied. His decline was inevitable, she frowned. You sound proud of that. I'm not proud, I said. I'm watching justice unfold. Justice? She laughed bitterly. You call this justice? They built this, I said. Every decision they made led here. Maya crossed her arms. And you're just what, the spectator? Or the executioner? I didn't lift a finger, I said. Karma's working overtime. She studied me for a moment. You've changed, Ethan. There's ice in your voice now. I learned from the best, I said sharply. Pain teaches faster than kindness ever could. Maya shook her head. No, pain just replaces kindness when you let it. Her words stuck, but I turned away. Go home, Maya. You've done enough for today. She sighed and left, the echo of her heels fading down the hallway. A week later, I saw Alina in the office lobby. She looked like a shadow, pale, thin, her eyes empty. Alina, I said quietly. She turned slowly. Ethan, her voice was barely a whisper. You've missed several meetings, I said. I know, she replied. Ryan and we're not okay, I noticed. Her lips trembled. He drinks all the time. He blames me. Says I ruined everything. I tilted my head. And did you? Her eyes filled with tears. Maybe we both did. I stayed silent. The pain on her face should have satisfied me, but instead it left a dull ache in my chest. I never wanted this, she said. All I wanted was a happy life. You made your choices, I said, though my voice cracked slightly. She wiped her tears. And you made yours. She turned and walked away, her heels clicking weakly on the marble floor. I watched her leave the same way I had years ago, only now she was the one breaking apart. That night I sat alone in my penthouse, city lights flickering beneath me. I poured a drink but didn't touch it. Maya called. You okay? I don't know, I said. I thought I'd feel victorious, but I looked out the window. It feels empty. Like I'm standing in a house built on ashes. She was quiet for a moment. Because revenge doesn't rebuild anything, Ethan. It just burns slower. Her words echoed long after the call ended. I stared at my reflection in the glass. The man who won everything but somehow lost himself along the way. It was late when the knock came. Soft, hesitant. Come in, I said, not looking up from the papers on my desk. The door opened and Alina stepped in. Her makeup was smudged, eyes swollen, voice trembling. Ryan's leaving me. I leaned back in my chair, forcing my tone to stay cold. I see. He packed his things tonight, she whispered. Didn't even look at me. Maybe he finally saw the truth, I said quietly. She flinched. You think I deserve this, don't you? I didn't answer. The silence stretched between us until she said, You do. Her voice cracked as she stepped closer. I made a mistake, Ethan. The biggest one of my life. I stared at her. The same woman who once shattered everything I believed in. Mistake? That's what you call it? I was scared, she said. Ryan offered stability. You offered chaos. I didn't know love could survive in chaos. I laughed bitterly. So you traded love for safety and ended up with neither. Tears streamed down her face. I thought he could be what you were. I thought he'd make me feel what you did. Her words hit like a blade. And did he? She shook her head. No, he never was you. I clenched my jaw. Don't do that, Alina. Do what? Don't turn this into a love story. You ended that years ago. She stepped closer, desperation breaking through her voice. You think I don't know? Every day I wake up regretting it. Every day I wish I'd chosen differently. Regret doesn't fix anything, I said. It's just a quieter form of punishment, she sobbed, covering her face. I deserve this. Every bit of it. I wanted to tell her yes, that she did. That she had earned every sleepless night, every tear, every ounce of guilt. But the words never came. Instead, I said softly, You should go home. She looked at me, eyes glistening under the dim office light. There's no home left, Ethan, not without him. Not without you, my breath caught. For a moment, the anger, the bitterness, the years of revenge, all of it blurred into something heavier. Why now? I asked quietly. Why come here tonight? Because, she whispered, I needed you to know I never stopped loving you. Even when I destroyed us. My chest tightened, the words clawing at walls I'd built for years. Don't, I said, voice shaking. Don't make me feel sorry for you. I'm not asking for that, she said. I'm asking for forgiveness. I stared at her, the woman I'd sworn to hate, now standing in front of me, broken and begging. But hate felt hollow. Revenge felt pointless. I don't hate you, Alina, I said finally. I just don't know how to feel anymore, she smiled weakly. That's still something. When she left, the silence that followed was louder than any storm. For the first time, I realized revenge hadn't freed me. It had only kept me chained to the ghost of what we once were. She stood in front of me, fragile and defeated. What now? She asked softly. I took a slow breath. You start over, Alina, somewhere far away. Somewhere that doesn't carry my shadow. Her lips trembled. You're sending me away? I'm giving you a chance, I said. Something I never got. Her eyes filled with confusion. After everything I did, why? Because revenge isn't worth what it costs, I said quietly. I learned that too late. She looked down, her voice breaking. I don't deserve forgiveness. I'm not giving you forgiveness, I replied. I'm giving you freedom. Tears rolled down her cheeks. And what about you? I'll manage, I said. I always do. She hesitated, then whispered, Goodbye, Ethan. I nodded once. Goodbye, Alina. When she left, the office felt lighter. I sat there for a long time, staring at the empty chair across from me. My chest ached, but not from anger anymore, from release. The next morning, I transferred the funds quietly, cleared her debts, paid off the remaining shares she and Ryan still clung to. No explanations, no messages, just silence. By the end of the week, their company was gone. Ryan's name vanished from the business registry, swallowed by bankruptcy filings. He'd done that to himself long before I ever had to lift a hand. I didn't ruin them. They ruined themselves. I just watched it happen. That night, I found myself sitting on a park bench, watching the city lights flicker in the distance. For once, the noise didn't bother me. The world kept moving, and I didn't need to chase or fight it anymore. Footsteps approached. I didn't have to look up to know it was Maya. She sat beside me, wrapping her coat tighter. So, she said quietly, it's over? I let out a long breath. No, I whispered, staring at the skyline. It's finally beginning, she smiled faintly. You mean peace? Something like that, I said. For the first time, I'm not angry. Not even tired, just done. Maya leaned her head against my shoulder. You did the right thing, Ethan. I watched a single leaf drift across the pavement, caught in the wind. Maybe, I said. But the right thing never feels as satisfying as you imagine, she chuckled softly. That's how you know it's right. I smiled, small, genuine. The kind that didn't hide bitterness anymore. For the first time in years, I wasn't haunted by what I'd lost. I was free. Months passed quietly, the kind of calm that feels strange after years of chaos. Maya and I worked side by side again, not as business partners chasing profit, but as people building something that mattered. The foundation took shape slowly, helping those who'd lost everything to betrayal, financial, emotional, or otherwise. Every story we heard echoed a piece of mine. Maya leaned over the conference table one evening, flipping through the proposal. You realize the irony, right? She said with a faint smile. I smirked. That I'm building a program to help people survive heartbreak? Exactly, she said. You're turning your scars into a roadmap, I shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just trying to stop others from burning the way I did. She studied me for a moment. You're not the same man who wanted revenge. Good, I said. That man almost destroyed everything he worked for. We spent hours finalizing paperwork, laughing between coffee breaks. It felt normal, like I'd finally stepped out of the storm. That night, as we closed up the office, she asked the question I didn't expect. If she came back, Maya said softly, would you take her? I froze for a second, staring out at the city lights beyond the glass. No, I said finally. I don't look back anymore. Maya tilted her head. Not even a little? Not even a memory's worth, I said. I used to think revenge would make me feel powerful, but it just made me empty. Forgiveness. That's what freed me, she nodded slowly. And forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. No, I agreed. It means remembering without pain. There was a long silence between us, the kind that didn't need filling. She smiled faintly.
You know, Ethan,
I think this is who you were meant to be. Someone who lost everything first? I asked. Someone who learned what matters after, she said. I looked around the office, the dim light, the stacks of folders labeled Hope Fund, Second Chance, Rebuild. It was all so different from the empire I once chased. I wasn't saving others, I murmured. I was saving myself, Maya smiled. Then maybe that's how real healing starts. I exhaled slowly, feeling the weight lift from my chest. For the first time, my past didn't feel like a wound. It felt like a lesson. One I'd finally learned. Forgiveness didn't erase what happened. It just gave me back my peace. The lights of the charity hall shimmered against the marble floor, and for a moment it felt like déjà vu. Another event, another crowd, but this time I wasn't the broken man watching from the shadows. I was one of the sponsors, calm, centered, free. Then I saw her. Alina stood near the entrance, dressed simply, her posture fragile. The confident gleam she once had was gone. When our eyes met, her lips parted slightly as if she couldn't believe it was me. Ethan, she whispered, stepping closer. I smiled politely. Alina. She looked at me for a long second, eyes glistening. You look happy. I am, I said, and for the first time it was true. She nodded slowly, her voice trembling. I've thought about that night. About everything. I never meant to. I raised a hand gently. You don't owe me an explanation. Her gaze fell. Ryan left years ago. I heard about your foundation. You're doing good things. It's what keeps me grounded, I said quietly. Pain has a way of shaping us into who we're supposed to be. She gave a faint, wistful smile. You always had that strength. I think I was just too blind to see it. For a heartbeat, I saw the girl I once loved. Not the one who betrayed me, but the one who used to laugh with me under streetlights. Then just as quickly that image faded. You seem different, she said softly. I am, I replied. You taught me what not to lose again. Myself. Her voice cracked. I'm glad you found peace, Ethan. I really am. Thank you, I said simply. I hope you find yours too. She smiled faintly, tears forming but never falling. You already did what I couldn't. Let go. I nodded, offering one last glance before turning toward the stage. The applause of the crowd rose around me, but all I heard was silence, the kind that feels like closure. Walking away, I realized this was never about revenge. It had never been about watching her fall. It was about learning to rise. I didn't destroy her life. I rebuilt mine, and that was enough.